So for the final portion of this video, we're just going to set up our document as I teach you a little bit about artboards, guides, and rulers. We unfortunately can't really get into the fun, juicy stuff until we've learned this, so maybe the next video will be more fun. So we're going to start by hitting the artboard tool down here, or Shift O. This opens up all of your artboard options, and as you can see here, there is like this dotted line that shows that this artboard is being selected. So first things first, in order to duplicate an artboard, all you have to do is hold Option, click, and drag. This command works for duplicating objects in almost every single Adobe software, so you can always tell that it's about to duplicate by this double stacked arrow. So you can click and drag, and you can see that we're making a duplicate of the existing artboard. We can move it wherever we want, and the little pink lines are guides that show you if things are aligned or not. So another thing you can do is if you hold Shift down while you hold Option, you can move things in a straight line so you know things are perfectly aligned. And if you release, then you have two artboards. So I'm just going to show you a trick. No need to do this. I'm going to create a circle on this first artboard and then delete the second artboard. So when I duplicate this artboard with a circle on it, you'll see that the circle doesn't copy over. This is because I have sort of the copy shapes on artboards deselected. If you go to your artboard options at the top, you will see this like move/copy artwork with artboard. If you select it, which is the dark background, it will move everything on the artboard with a new artboard so you can copy everything over. I think by default it might be selected, but either way it's just good to know that it's there. So you can also create a new artboard by simply clicking this button to create a new artboard. So you can adjust the size of your artboard by simply putting in the actual measurements up here. So I'm going to put this as 4.25 or the size of one postcard, and it automatically resizes it to that size. You can also resize the artboard by playing with the transform controls on the side to create whatever size artboard you need. Moving on from artboards, next we're going to talk about rulers. So rulers are super important, and I think people forget about them a lot because they are hidden on default, but they are a good reminder of reality and proportions. So the way that you turn on rulers is going to the top to the view and then rulers show rulers. You can also hit Command R. So the rulers open on the top and the left. So when you click on an artboard, so this one we've selected the one on the left, the zeros match up to the top left corner of the artboard. So you always know what the exact measurements on that artboard are. And as you move back and forth, there are little tick marks that show you exactly what the measurement of where your mouse is. So here the tick mark is lined up with the 3 because we are at 3. So the reason that we use rulers is because the screen you're working on is a completely different size as whatever you're printing out. So as you zoom in, words might look really big or little details look like they're big enough, but when you print them out, they don't even appear on the page. So it's important to just check every once in a while and see where you are in reality. So next, we are actually going to create some guides. So I'm just going to clear these off. So what you want to do is you want to go to your top ruler and click and drag. This will show this little dotted line, which will be where your guide is. So I'm going to position this guide at the 4.25 on the vertical. So it can basically work as our halfway point on these documents. So I'm just going to release and ta-da, there is our guide. So the guide won't print out and it doesn't really affect any of your design. It's really only there to help you. So let me show you how this might work. Using the guide, I am going to create a rectangle on this bottom half and label this as the front of the postcard. On the top half, I'm going to copy this rectangle, change it a different color, and then label it as the back. So next, the most important thing is that you're actually going to want to rotate the back upside down. So the reason we do this is that when you actually print it out, you want the front and the back to fold over at that guideline, and then both sides will be right side up. Just think of like a horizontal birthday card. All that being said, you definitely don't need to work upside down for like the back of your postcard. You can rotate things exceptionally easily in Illustrator. So whenever you're working, just create the elements separately and then you can rotate and put them on your final document. I would even recommend you work on this 4.25 by 6 artboard first and then group everything together and put it on the final document afterwards. I will teach you more in depth on how to do that in the upcoming videos, so don't worry about that, just do what you can first. So the final thing we're going to talk about, and perhaps the most important thing, is saving. So up here by the file name, you will see this little asterisk. That's Adobe telling you that these files are not saved. To save, what we're going to want to do is go to File in the top left corner and hit Save As. Save As is for a new document, and Save is if you're returning to save again. If it's your first time saving on a document, either one will work and it will lead you to the same place. You can also hit Command S to save. So this window will open up, and I guess I would really recommend you to create a folder for all your CalArts work, and inside that folder create a folder for this class in specific and put all the stuff that you make for this class in that folder. Being organized really is like 50% of being a graphic designer. You always want to know where your files are and label them properly. There are always a bunch of jokes about naming your files like final, but I would really encourage you to not get into the habit of doing that and actually label your files properly. So you can save your file as a couple different formats. Always save as the Adobe Illustrator default first. The EPS is essentially for creating logo vectors to hand off to a client. The template is kind of unused. The PDF is sort of for documents or print pieces. SVG and SVG compressed are also vector formats for handing off files. The Illustrator file format will always work for Illustrator until Adobe starts charging us even more for that or something like that. So for now, just always save as the Adobe Illustrator file first. And then you can just hit save and you will be prompted with this window. Sometimes you will have to save as an earlier version for a client or something like that, but for now, just hit OK and that's it. So that's it for our first lesson. I hope most of it made sense and that you learned something new. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm just kidding. If you have any questions, please make sure to ask your peers and your TAs or ask Shelly. See you next time!